be plenty of shouting.
Look
Let them piss you guys off by all the questions.
Sometimes it gets out there, but most of the time not. If we do, I'll tell you.
You don't really care.
No, sometimes it's there.
Everything but locusts. Cows flying over.
I heard a couple of sighs while I was asking
Oh.
questions. What's going on with you guys?
Yeah.
They'll be here for a short time.
Okay.
Okay, it is 7 o'clock. We do have a quorum. We'll call the City Council meeting of Louisville to order. If you will, please join me. I will give the invocation. Then we'll have Councilman Garina lead us in the pledges, both the American and Texas flags. Most gracious God Almighty, our Creator and our Redeemer, we thank you for your love. For without your love, we have nothing. With your love, we have everything. We have you, we have your forgiveness, we have your mercy and your grace. And we thank you for that each and every day of our lives. We ask your special blessing tonight on those who are suffering, who are ill, who are being repressed, and those who live in fear. We ask your special blessing on those who have lost loved ones, and those who are in transit to see their loved ones. We ask your special blessing on those that are here in our country and around the world, standing up and fighting for freedom and justice in a way that would be pleasing unto you. We ask you tonight to guide us with our thoughts, our words, and our actions, that we might take care of the land which you've given us, and that we might act in a way that be pleasing unto you and give you the glory and the honor. We ask all of this in your most precious name. Amen.
Could you join me? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Well, good evening, everyone. It's so good to see so many people here gracing our chambers. It looks a lot better when we have these beautiful young ladies and young gentlemen here, and even you, Steve Griffin. It's good to see you here, too, sir. No, we are glad to have all of you here with us today. We've got a lot of proclamations and presentations we're going to make tonight. You know, we try to do this at the beginning of every meeting so we make sure that we let the people in our city know the wonderful attributes that our citizens do throughout the year. And we're excited to have some guests with us tonight, and we're going to introduce them. So we'll go ahead and get started. First thing I want to do is we're going to introduce some of our guests that we have with us tonight. So if I could ask all the people that are here with us tonight representing New England in the Rotary Club, if you'd please come. What did I say? Well, they were supposed to be here last week and they missed it. So why don't we have the New Zealand people come forward, and we'll have recognize you. Please come forward. Come on down. This is like the Price is Right. Come on down.
Thank you. We've got a different accent in New Zealand.
Yes, a little bit. A little bit. And I have to tell you this, my daughter's not going to let me live this down because my daughter actually, when she graduated from college, she got invited to go to New Zealand, and she did for 6 months and did her student teaching in New Zealand because New Zealand is recognized around the world for having the best elementary education in reading and speaking for elementary children. And so she went and studied there in New England. So when I tell her I messed up and said New England, she's going to shoot me. And I have a pen that says New Zealand on a little brown wood pen that says New Zealand. So I do know where it is. But I'm going to let them start off. They have a little something that they're going to present us with first. I thought you were going to do your walk with
Yeah, I'd just like to introduce
Okay.
you.
You do it.
Yes, so we're just very privileged to be here in your country, in your wonderful state of Texas. And we'd just like to do a traditional Maori welcome and challenge to you, so don't be alarmed, and I hope any of the policemen here pull out their guns and shoot us. You'd just like to bear with us.
No guarantees.
No problem.
Kia arete, kia mo, hi, ha! Pakia, wawa takia, ekino nehoki, ekino nehoki.
That was simply wonderful. Thank you, sir. I had no idea what they were doing. They said, we're going to do this thing there. And I said, okay.
That is a traditional challenge that all our sports teams put out to, our international sports teams put out to other teams that we play. It's just a friendly challenge.
He told me it's going to be a challenge. I said, well, what do I got to do to answer this challenge? He said, just stand there. I said, okay. But I want to tell you a little bit of the reason they're here. They're here on behalf of Rotary International. I am a Rotarian here in Louisville, and I'll read a proclamation here in a little bit, but we do have two Rotary groups here in Louisville. We have a Rotary Noon Club and a Rotary Morning Club. And we have sponsored exchange students for many years. We have some of our students here locally that go abroad and study, and we have people that come from abroad here to visit with us and study here and learn our cultures here. So that's why they're here tonight. The Rotarians have brought them here tonight. If I could, I'd like to ask all the Rotarians that are here tonight to please stand up and be recognized. Thank you very much. So at this time, what I'm going to do first is introduce these people. Let's see how well I do with their names. Oops, you're so good. Okay, and as I introduce you, if you will, just step forward and wave to the crowd. We have Mark Graham, who is their team leader. We have Leonard Casey, Sarah Nichols. See how easy these names are? Now what? Okay, Sarah Cookie, like Cookie. And here is my most exciting one, Susan Farerimu. We're so glad to have all of you here. Come on in here a little closer so we can get some pictures as we're doing this. Whereas Rotary International, founded on February 23rd, 1905 in Chicago, Illinois, is the world's first and one of the largest nonprofit service organizations. And whereas there are over 1.2 million Rotary Club members comprised of professional and business leaders in over 33,000 clubs in 200 countries and geographic areas. And whereas the Rotary motto, service above self, inspires members to provide humanitarian service, encourage high ethical standards, and promote goodwill and peace in the world. And whereas Rotary funds club projects and sponsors volunteers with community expertise to provide medical services, health care, clean water, food production, job training, and education to millions in need, particularly in developing countries. And whereas Rotary in 1985 launched Polio Plus and spearheaded efforts with the worldwide organization U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and UNICEF to immunize the children of the world against polio. Polio cases have dropped by 99% since 1988, and the world stands on the threshold of eradicating the disease. And whereas Rotary is the world's largest privately funded source of international scholarships, and promotes international understanding through scholarships, exchange programs, and humanitarian grants. And whereas about 40,000 students from 130 countries have studied abroad since 1947 as Rotary ambassadorial scholars, and whereas Rotary Group Studies Exchange Program has helped more than 67,000 young professionals explore their career fields in other countries, and whereas 7,000 secondary school students each year experience life in another country through Rotary's Youth Exchange Program. Whereas there are 2 Rotary clubs in the city of Louisville, Louisville Noon and Louisville Morning Clubs, with combined membership of more than 88 members, sponsoring service projects to address such critical issues as poverty, health, hunger, illiteracy, and the environment here in our community and abroad. Now, therefore, I, Dean Euchert, Mayor of the City of Louisville, Texas, do hereby proclaim a huge Texas welcome, ladies and gentlemen, this 18th day of April to the 5 delegates from New Zealand: Mark Graham, their team leader, Leonard Casey, Sarah Nichols, Sarah Tukey, and Susan Farerimu. There we go. That's a tough one. In the city of Louisville, and encourage all citizens to join me in recognizing and welcoming these delegates for Rotary International's GSE's program. So if you will, please give these people a good round. He's going to do a little more. Okay. Now I think you have something else that you want to say.
Yes.
Is that right, Mark?
Yes, dear Dean, I'd just like to present a couple of things on behalf of our team and on behalf of our country. I have for you our New Zealand flag.
Isn't that beautiful?
So New Zealand is a part of the Commonwealth, so the Union Jack representing our affiliation to Queen Elizabeth. And then the 4 stars making up the southern constellation, the Southern Cross, and our southern sky. So I'd just like to present that to you.
Well, thank you so much. That is wonderful. Let's get a picture of that, too, while we don't miss it. That's wonderful.
That's very good. Thank you. And being Rotary, we've just got the Rotary banner of the club that's sponsoring Susan, the Rotary Club of Tuakau, and also just our business card and a couple of Kiwi pins. And from our policeman friend, the New Zealand Police Association pen.
Oh, wonderful. Well, thank you so much. It's a great honor to have all of you here.
Thank you very much. Finally, it's a Maori tradition that after we've spoken, we just sing a little song to conclude. So we decided to do that for you, and we're just going to sing a little Maori folk song for you.
How long are y'all going to be here now? Remind me, is it 2 weeks?
But about another 3 weeks.
About another 3 weeks. Good. And while they're here, they stay with Rotarians, and we provide them some transportation and hospitality here and take them around and try to show them our country and take them out and let them ride a horse or two while they're here, too. We're sure glad to have y'all here. Thank y'all for coming. Now you're going to see a little bit of Texas tradition here. We've got some special people here tonight. I'm going to have to check their driver's license because I don't think they're being quite honest here. But you'll see why here in a minute. If I could go ahead and have you ladies come on down, please. I'm Dean Euchre.
Thank you, dear Linda.
Linda, it's a pleasure to meet you. Come on up here.
Thank you.
I'm Dean Euchre.
Karen Bill.
Karen, it's nice to meet you.
Dorothy King.
I'm Dorothy King. This is Karen Ward.
Linda.
Linda Ward. I'm sorry.
Karen Bill.
Karen Dill.
And Dorothy King.
And Dorothy King. Now, the reason I say that, I think I'm going to have to check their driver's license because, as you'll see here, as I read this here in a few minutes, you'll see that they're in a society, but their society says something about if you're under age 55, you're supposed to be wearing a peak hat. And I don't believe any of you young ladies are over 50. So you need to be putting on pink hats instead of red hats. Well, we certainly want to thank you for coming and sharing with us tonight. And I will present you with a proclamation also. Whereas laughter is a staple of life, providing comic relief from the day-to-day routine. And Red Hat women desire fun and friendship and refuse to conform to an old-fashioned image of women over 50. And whereas the Red Hat Society was started in April of 1998 and now has over 70,000 chapters in more than 30 countries to create fun after 50. And Red Hat ladies of all walks of life can be easily spotted in full regalia, consisting of a purple outfit with a red hat, if the lady is 50 plus years, which they're not, 58 years or older, and lavender outfits with peak hats for ladies under 50. So that's what you ladies should be wearing.
I wish.
Whereas women over the age of 50 are the largest segment of the population at this time and are significant members of our society, investing in wisdom and experience to help enrich and better the lives of younger generations. And whereas this is the 13th anniversary of the Red Hat Society, now therefore I, Dean Euchre, Mayor of the City of Louisville, Texas, to honor and decree Sue Ellen Cooper, the exalted Queen Mother and founder of the Society, do hereby proclaim April 25th, 2011 as Red Hat Society Day in Louisville, Texas, and may all the ladies in the local chapters have a delightful and fun day. Proclaim this 18th day of April 2011. Thank you so much.
I accept this proclamation, and I'm very, very proud, because another thing that's happening on April 25th is our original Red Hat and BOA are being presented and placed in the Smithsonian Institution Museum, and it's a big honor. I thank you on behalf of all the Louisville Red Hatters, Texas, and worldwide Red Hatters. And we have big groups of Red Hatters in New Zealand. Thank you, dear.
Thank you so much, ladies. Would y'all like You know, as I said, laughter is a wonderful thing. Next thing we have is a proclamation for fair housing. If I could have Iad Salome and Ann Shuta come down, please. Hey, Iad. Another fine Rotarian here. Hi, how are you? Good to see you again. Whereas Title VIII of Civil Rights Act of 1968, Fair Housing Act, as amended, declares it as a national policy to provide within constitutional limits for fair housing in the United States. And whereas the Fair Housing Act prohibits discrimination in the sale, rental, and financing of housing on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. And whereas the Fair Housing Amendments Act of 1988 extend fair housing rights to families with children, to pregnant women, and to disabled persons. And whereas the principle of fair housing is not only national law and national policy, but a fundamental human concept and entitlement for all Americans. And whereas the 43rd anniversary of this national fair housing law during the month of April provides an opportunity to all Americans to recognize that complete success in the goal of equal housing opportunity can only be accomplished with the help and cooperation of all Americans. And whereas the City of Louisville supports equal housing opportunity, now therefore I, Dean Euchert, Mayor of the City of Louisville, Texas, do hereby proclaim this month of April 2011 as Fair Housing Month, proclaim the 18th day of April 2011.
Well, Iad, how do we follow that? We don't have a red hat, we don't have a challenge, but we do have our deepest thanks to the City of Louisville, especially Jamie and the First Time Home Buyers Program. And Iad, they all do a fabulous job in helping educate home buyers and helping the City of Louisville and homeowners to get equity in their purchases.
Well, thank you very much. It is an honor to accept this proclamation. We really appreciate the City Council, Mayor, City Manager Clark King for really the support. Jamie and Sheena, we really thank you very much for your help, for providing such educational program on the home buying, the workshops that you do. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Photo? We need to get a photo? We need to get photos out. I thought he'd already gotten it.
Let me. Yeah, there we go.
Did we get the Red Hats photo? No? You ladies, would you like to get a photo with the proclamation? Come on down. We're not going to miss anybody. It won't take but a minute. We don't get paid by the hour anyway.
I'm back now.
You get to hold it.
Oh, okay.
You get to hold it. I want to stand in the middle while you do that. I'm going to get right behind all of you.
I'll get over here on
There we go. I like this. Don't tell my wife.
Tell her to join us.
That's right.
Trust me, I'm not saying she's over 50. Okay. Next thing, if we could if I could ask Officer Steinley to please come down, sir. And Chief, if you would come up with me. Chief Taylor, if you could come up. Officer Steinley, it's a pleasure to meet you, sir. Thank you so much for your service and all you've done. Chief Taylor, would you like to give a little bit of update on the Life-Saving Award and how it's kind of accomplished and how we do it?
Sure. The Life-Saving Award, it's normally nominated by a peer or by a supervisor. A situation where an officer went in, did a life-saving, some additional work that maybe an officer is not expected to do, or steps in and uses their training the way to save a life or prolong life. And really our goal is to save a life, keep them going until chief's people can get there and take over. And once the peer, the supervisor, submits it, it goes to an awards committee who reviews it and then decides whether it's worthy of a life-saving award.
Great. We certainly know this is. So now I want to tell you a little bit about Officer Stanley and his actions and why we feel that he won this life-saving award. On March 4th, 2011, at 10:08 a.m., Officer Robert Butch Stanley was dispatched to an unconscious person call in the 1200 block of College Parkway. Dispatch advised that a woman had fallen. Upon Officer Stanley's arrival, he began performing chest compressions on the woman. There were 2 other adults in the apartment who were later identified as the woman's son and grandson. The grandson provided breaths, and Officer Stanley continued with chest compressions until department personnel arrived on scene and transported the patient to Louisville Medical Center where treatment continued. The doctor there advised that it appeared the woman had suffered a heart attack and would need to have an immediate heart operation. The police department's award committee met to review this incident and recommends that Officer Stanley receive a life-saving award. If not for Officer Stanley's quick and immediate actions, this individual could easily have died. So on behalf of the City of Louisville, it was a great pride that I present you with this life-saving award, Officer Stanley. And I'd like to read this to you, sir. City of Louisville Police Department Life-Saving Award presented to Officer Robert Stanley this 18th day of April 2011 for distinguished and unselfish service in the highest tradition of the Louisville Police Department. Once again, thank you so much. Oh, you wait? You're going to put that on him now, or you do that later?
I don't want to do it later, so I can send it.
Chief also gave him a little pen that they have right there, and I offered Officer Stanley to say a few words. He said that's okay. So we want you to know how much we do appreciate you, sir, and all your fellow workers that work with you. Okay. Next, if I could have all the Louisville High School students that are here tonight to be recognized, if I could have, as I call your name, if I could have your sponsor come down first. And then as we call your name, if you'll come up one at a time. And what I'd like to do is we'll have you come up and we'll get a picture. And then if you remain up here, we'll get a group picture at the end, okay? Once a month, we started this about a year ago. Once a month, we like to try to have some of our Louisville High School students come in and be recognized for the tremendous achievements that they do. Because we know they are our future. And we're proud to have them here. Louisville is our high school, and we're proud of you and our school here in this community. And so we want to recognize you and your service to our community here tonight. And if I would, if I could ask you ladies to introduce yourself, please.
I'm Lois Hardaway. I teach ESL at Louisville High School.
I'm Susan Ramirez. I'm the ESL department chair at Louisville High School. My name is Samantha Leon. I teach ESL 2 at Louisville High School.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you young ladies to come down. It is all ladies this evening. And then I'll also ask your parents, if they're here, to stand up and be recognized too. If we could have Belzafat Zuniga, please come forward. And her parents are Raquel and Alonzo Zuniga. Louisville hereby recognizes and honors Belzafat Zuniga. I'm sorry.
Zuniga.
Say that again.
Zuniga.
Zuniga. Belzafat Zuniga for outstanding achievements as a Louisville Independent School District student in the following event and activity. President of LHS Latino Club, Fantastic Farmer Awards in freshman and sophomore years, issued on this April this day of April 18, 2011. I, Dean Euchert, Mayor of Louisville. Thank you very much. Teresita Santabeniz. Her parents are Jeanette and Alfonso Valadez. Louisville hereby recognizes and honors Teresita Santabeniz for outstanding achievements as a Louisville Independent School District student in the following event and activity: Vice President of LHS Latino Club, 2 Golden Ticket Awards, 2 Fantastic Farmer Awards, issued on this 18th day of April 2011. I, Mayor Dean Euchert, the City of Louisville. Congratulations. Ballerina Yaha. Her parents are Ishmael and Magetta Yaha. Louisville hereby recognizes and honors Lorena Yaha for outstanding achievements as a Louisville Independent School District student in the following event and activity: Secretary of LHS Latino Club, first place DECA District winner, Golden Ticket winner, Student of the Month recipient twice, 3 Fantastic Farmer Awards, and UIL Accounting and DECA, issued on this 18th day of April 2011. I, Dean Euchert, Mayor, City of Louisville. Marina Atalia. Her parents are Abdul Gamal and Nevin Abdul Gamal and Adele Atalia. Louisville hereby recognizes and honors Marina Atalia for outstanding achievements as a Louisville Independent School District student in the following event and activity: Treasurer, LHS Latino Club, 3 Fantastic Farmer Awards, 3 Student of the Month Awards, Department Award of Excellence in English ESL 2010, National Honor Society, Golden Ticket Awards for Respect, Volunteer Awards Summer 2010, A Honor Roll, Certifico for... She said that so well. October 2010 and November 2010. Issued on this 18th day of April 2011. I, Dean Euchert, Mayor, City of Louisville. Jessica Loza, and her parents are Rita and Jesus Loza. Louisville hereby recognizes and honors Jessica Loza for outstanding achievements as a Louisville Independent School District student in the following event and activity: Public Relations Officer, LHS Latino Club, National Honor Society member, ranked excellent in choir UIL 8 District Solo and Ensemble contest for 3 years, ranked superior in Class District Solo and Ensemble 2011, Fantastic Farmer Award, Golden Ticket Award for Peacefulness in 2011, and A Honor Roll, issued on the 18th day of April 2011. I, Dean Euchert, Mayor of Louisville. Okay, that's all kind of items that we can pick up. Thank you very much. Get over here. Thank you, ladies, so much. I appreciate all that you do. We thank your service, your school team, again, let's give their parents a round of applause. I know how proud they are. We're proud of you, too. Thank you. That's it, right, Dewey? Okay.
There goes. We done? Meeting over?
I needed water.
The horse.
I did visit with all these young people before we started the meeting tonight, and I went over their names with them, and I apologized ahead of time that I might not pronounce them correctly, and I said, but that's okay if you look up there. My name's not always pronounced correctly. I can tell you, when I was in school one time, I was introduced on the basketball team, they called out and said, Dean Yogurt. And I was like, oh, okay, that's all right. So I think they understood. It's not a problem. Okay, next item on the agenda is item E, the public hearing, consideration of issuing 3 oil and gas permits for a site located at 1645 McGee Lane, known as the Prologis Gas Pad, as requested by Titan Operating LLC. On February 17, 2011, Titan Operating Corporation submitted an application to drill and operate 3 natural gas wells at the site known as Prologis Gas Pad, a 4-acre tract of land located at 1645 McGee Lane. Staff and Titan Operating have worked diligently to address and satisfy all the requirements of the oil and gas ordinance that were in force at the time of the submittal. The permit applications were deemed complete by city staff and the city manager on March 28, 2011 as meeting the minimum requirements of the ordinance. These well permits have a single protected use located within 300 to 500 feet from the edge or plane of permanent equipment that could potentially pose a health or safety risk. As such, before a permit can be issued, the landowner of this protected use must provide their consent to the permits, which they have provided, as well as an affirmative vote of the not less than 3/4 of the City Council. Staff was recently made aware that the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers may be reviewing the SE-1H well bore under federal authority. Should we receive such notice of such a review prior to the public hearing, staff recommends that Council continue the public hearing for well bore SE-1H until such time that the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers review is complete. So with that, and in accordance to Texas Government Code Section 551.071, consultation with our attorney, we will convene into executive session.
several speakers first, so.
For some reason right now. I have to drive over to Decatur.
Okay, we'll convene back into regular session. We do have some speaker cards filled out on this, so I do want to give those people opportunity to speak, as this is a public hearing. First, Bobby Dolak. Where is it, Bobby? He's outside. Okay. Niles Hooper. Not here either.
I'm actually just here from the Corps with the Office of Counsel.
Oh, you're with the Corps. I'm sorry, sir. You're just here to answer any questions if you have. I'm sorry, I didn't see that. Thank you, sir. Chris Hammock.
Mayor, City Council, Chris Hammock, Titan Operating, 111 West 4th Street, Fort Worth. I think I can speak for Bobby, too. We're just here on the capacity to answer any questions you have, too. So anything y'all need, we're here to answer any questions.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And same thing with you, Bobby, just here to answer questions? Okay. And then we also have a card filled out by R. Neil Ferguson, who does not wish to speak but is in support of this item. Wish that Councilman Watts, is there any action you'd like to take?
Yes, sir. I move to continue the public hearing on Wellbore Southeast 1H until such time as the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers has completed their review.
Second.
We have a motion to continue the public hearing on Wellbore Southeast 1H until time the Army Corps Engineer has completed their review. And we have by Councilman Watson, a second by Councilman Grena. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Any further action, Councilman Watson?
Move to close the public hearing on the remaining sites on the pad.
Second.
Have a motion to close the public hearing on the remaining sites, on the Wellbore sites. And we have by Councilman Watts, a second by Councilman Guerrero. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Councilman Watts?
Unless anybody has questions, going once. I move to approve.
Have a motion by Councilman Watts to approve.
Second.
A second by Councilman Thornhill. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Are we going to have a presentation from Fire Marshal Ippolito on this?
Not since we've already passed it. We don't need it.
It's okay. He answered my question. That's okay.
Next item on the agenda is the visitor citizen forum. At this time, any person with business before the council not scheduled on the agenda may speak to the council. No formal action can be taken on these items at this meeting. Do not have any cards filled out. Next item is the consent agenda. All of the following items on the consent agenda are considered to be self-explanatory by the council and will be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or citizen so requests. For a citizen to request removal of an item, a speaker card must be filled out and submitted to the city secretary. I do have a card filled out by a gentleman who will pull item number 3. I'd entertain a motion for consent agenda with the exception of item 3.
So moved. Second.
A motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of item 3 by Councilman Durham, a second by Councilman Watts. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 3 is an approval of professional services agreement with Parsons Brinkerhoff Americas Incorporated in the amount of $150,478 for services related to design of aesthetic improvements and community branding for the I-35 corridor, approval of an appropriation for GO bond reserves in the amount of $150,478 and authorization for city manager to execute the contract. The proposed highway expansion is a unique opportunity to re-examine the I-35 corridor and identify opportunities for improving the aesthetic quality of the corridor. TxDOT has been working with the I-35 stakeholders to create a consistent corridor treatment along the highway, which is limited in funding and enhancements. This contract will allow PB to work with TxDOT on behalf of the City of Louisville to create design concepts of sufficient details to define the visual quality and character distinct to Louisville along the corridor. In addition, this contract provides the preparing final designs of documents for aesthetic treatments at key locations along the corridor, and specifically at the 407 interchange, as this intersection of I-35 is funded and will be under construction sooner than the remaining sections. This plan will build upon TxDOT's funded aesthetic improvements by identifying opportunities where additional community private resources may be employed to further enhance the I-35 corridor within the City of Louisville. Recommendation is that Council approve the professional service agreements with Parsons Brinckerhoff Americas Incorporated in the amount of $150,478 for design of aesthetic improvement along the I-35 corridor, approve the appropriation, and authorize city manager to execute the contract as set forth in the caption above. I do have a card spelled out by Mr. John McTiernan. Yes, sir. If you'd like to come forward, please, and if you would just give us your name and address for the record, please, sir. Pull that on around to you, sir. Yeah, there you go. That's great. Thank you.
My name is John McTiernan. I live at 1301 Pinehurst Drive in Louisville, and my subject is the I-35 expansion, which may be peripherally on the agenda in item J1, but I'm not sure about that. Over 5 years ago, in this chamber, I became aware, along with many other people, of the plans for the expansion of I-35. And I found out that my home is in the direct path of the freeway. Since that time, those affected, including myself, have been in limbo, really, because our houses are unsaleable and we're unwilling to indulge in any improvements of any significant cost until we find out how this thing plays out. We know that funding for the project is held up in Austin until the end of the legislative session, but I understand that there is $500 million available for property acquisition. My question is, has TxDOT notified the council of any property acquisition dates? Thank you.
Okay, let me give you a little bit of stuff, and then I'll turn it over to our city manager, Mr. King. I will tell you that we certainly understand your concern about the uncertainty of the I-35 expansion over the last several years. I sat in a meeting back before I was mayor several years ago with Michael Morris, who was here on behalf of the governor, and telling us about everything that was going to be happening and how to be completed and cars be driving on it by 2011. Well, we know that's not going to happen, but I will tell you that we just went down in February, myself, Councilman Watts, and our city manager, Mr. King, also our president of the local Chamber of Commerce and their chairman of the Chamber of Commerce went down to Austin. We did visit with all of our representatives, both in the legislative side and on the Senate side, and on the House side and Senate side, and we did talk with all of them. All of them were in support of it, and since that, we have gone down there and we kind of pounded a lot and told them the same thing you just said. It's not just our homeowners, but our homeowners and our businesses along I-35 that are just in limbo, and they can't, it's hard for them, they can't sell their property, the business people can't hardly lease their property because people are uncertain of it. We did go down and let them hear our frustrations. It's probably the most beneficial trip I have ever made to Austin since I've been going, period, even back when I wasn't on council, when I was just going with the Chamber of Commerce. And I think everyone that went will tell you that, because since we did that, there has been a bill go to the, I believe it was the Senate side of the legislature, that did go to the committee for highway expansion and improvements, and it was the I-35 bill was in there, and that did get voted unanimously for approval out of that committee. Now, it has to go to the House side, but from what I understand, we have great support there, and we're looking forward to that. Once that gets approved, then they should hopefully start releasing some funding. But I think we've made a great step in this so far just in the last couple of 3 months. Now, the $500 and something million that you're talking about property acquisition, I'll turn it over to City Manager. I don't believe they've started doing anything except on maybe 1 or 2 pieces.
There is
explain that.
The ultimate acquisition of right-of-way is going to depend on the funding and the procurement method that's selected by the state of Texas, and so that remains to be seen, as you indicated, Mayor, subject to the legislature taking action. However, there is a pre-acquisition or pre-procurement process that property owners can work with Texas, with the state of Texas on to sell their right-of-way prior to that procurement process. It's conditional. There are certain conditions that they will require for you to participate in that program, but I'll be happy to have Steve Backus, my assistant manager, talk to you about that, and he can fill you in on the details and put you in contact with the right people.
Okay, thank you. Is it true to say that if the approval for the funding does not occur before the end of the legislative session, that it'll be dead till the next session?
The right-of-way acquisition or the project itself?
The authorization for funding, the Senate bill.
Well, the funding won't be there, yeah. If they don't approve this bill, then there's not any likely sources for funding anytime soon, other than the money that's with the COG. And right-of-way acquisition may continue on that conditional basis.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Grena, do you have any action you'd like to take on item 3?
Not if anybody has anything to say. If they don't, then I move to approve.
Second. I have a motion to approve item number 3 by Councilman Grena, a second by Councilman Watts. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 9 is consideration of a variance to the Louisville City Code, Section 6-54, engineering site plan requirements, including associated improvements to Midway Road related to C&W Plumbing located at 1890 Midway Road, as requested by Von Bucher, P&E G&A Consultants. The subject 1.532-acre light industrial parcel was platted and site planned in 1993 prior to city utilities being installed in the area. The existing building is owned and occupied by C&W Plumbing. It is served by a private water well located on adjacent property, Louisville Metro Auction, and a private on-site septic system. The development of Louisville Metro Auction has created an unforeseen water service impact to C&W Plumbing. Therefore, C&W Plumbing is requesting to be hooked up to the city water and sewer services, which triggers an engineering site plan process and related improvements both on-site and off-site. C&W Plumbing owners are therefore requesting a variance to waive the engineering site plan process. Fees related to water and sewer services will be paid, and a modified site plan with landscape will be furnished. Recommendation is City Council approve the requested variance as set forth in the caption above. Do have a speaker card filled out here. Once again, Bobby Dolak. If you'd like to come forward, your name and address for the record, please, sir.
Good evening, Mayor. My name is Bobby Dolak, 111 Hillside Drive, Louisville, Texas, G&A Consultants. I believe in your packets we prepared this. I think you've got this that kind of explains what Mr. Bucher's letter as well as the staff's background is. And the reason why we're coming to you not as a site plan with a bunch of variances is because of the timing. The Louisville Auto Auction land is approved. They've had they're getting ready to break ground. And back in the day, the water well that served not only C&W but the auto auction and some other properties came off of a water well, which is on there. So they've kind of got caught a little bit where they have to tie on to the city water in a speedy way. So they've offered some we kind of ran through the gamut of the ordinance and said, okay, here's what they can do right now with the modified site plan. They can enhance their landscape around Midway. They can put up some screening fences, which aren't really required by the site plan, but to kind of dress up their site. They would like to cook onto the water, the sewer, pay the impact fees, but they need to do it in a timely fashion to coincide with the development around them. And they are here today, Karen and her partners are here today, and so if you have any questions from them, but the staff report did a good job of explaining what we're asking for.
With that, do the council have any questions? Thank you, Bobby. Councilman Durham?
I'm supporting this, and if nobody has any problems with it, I'll move to approve per the caption.
We have a motion to approve as presented by Councilman Durham, a second by Councilman Grena. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 10 is consideration of conveyance of surplus right-of-way described as irregularly shaped strip of land varying from approximately 15 feet to 80 feet in width and approximately 950 feet in length out of the L. Sparks Survey, abstract number 1135, and the W. Brown Survey, abstract number 63, Denton County, Texas, to Old Hall Cemetery, the abutting property owner, as allowed by section 272.001B1 of the Texas Local Government Code, as requested by Mr. James Poser, President of the Old Hall Cemetery Association, and authorization for the city manager to execute the appropriate deed. Prior to this improvement in 1994, McGee Lane was a substandard asphalt road with prescriptive right-of-way, most of which was located on the cemetery property. When McGee Lane was improved to a four-lane undivided street, most of the new alignment was west of the old road, thus leaving two areas of surplus right-of-way. The Old Hall Cemetery Association is requesting that these areas, approximately .905 acres, as described in the attached boundary exhibit, be conveyed to the Old Hall Cemetery. Recommendation is the City Council approve the conveyance of surplus right-of-way to Old Hall Cemetery and authorize the City Manager to execute the appropriated deed as set forth in the caption above. I do have some cards here filled out with people who would like to speak. Virginia Poser, would you like to come forward? If you would, ma'am, just give your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Virginia Polser, and I live at 1615 Lopo Road in Flower Mound. And
don't you own something here in Louisville?
The Louisville Feed Mill.
Well, thank you, ma'am.
And I kind of fell into this by accident. You know, James recently retired, and when that happened, he retired from everything. So I'm trying to pick up a few pieces. But I will try to answer any questions that any of you might have.
Did anybody have any questions of Ms. Poser? Thank you very much. He's back there waving a white flag. I think he's surrendering. Mr. Craig Mulkey. Once again, sir, if you just give your name and address to the record, please.
Craig Mulkey, 1005 Forest Park here in Louisville. Since that road was moved, the cemetery has been maintaining the property that we're speaking of and so forth. The cemetery has a great desire, quite honestly, to erect a fence. We're wanting to beautify the cemetery is what we're looking to do. And, of course, that cannot be done until the agreement has been made, of course, to give the deed or convey the deed to the Cemetery Association. So we are asking that of you this evening.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it, Craig. I have some cards here of people that are in support of this but do not wish to speak. Aubrey Pulser Jr., Steve Griffin, James Pulser, he had his wife speak for him, Gary Decker, and Michael Frey, and Margaret Griffin. And all those people are in support of this but did not wish to speak. Councilman Thornhill?
Thank you, Mayor. If anybody's got any discussion, we can discuss it. If not, I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve by Councilman Thornhill, a second by Councilman Watts. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Item number 11, As a tabled item, consideration of an ordinance amending the Louisville City Code, Chapter 6, Land Development Regulations by prohibiting the conversion, enclosure, or alteration of a garage for non-parking use in single-family dwellings as requested by Councilman David Thornhill. This item was tabled at the April 4, 2011 City Council meeting. Currently, the Louisville City Code of Ordinances does not specifically prohibit conversion, enclosure, or alteration of any garage for any purpose. Due to increasing traffic loads and inadequate off-street parking, the Neighborhood Preservation Committee reviewed and discussed this item as a part of their study and has recommended this item for approval. Staff presented the Neighborhood Preservation Committee's final report at this year's City Council retreat. Although the complete final report is not being considered at this time, Councilman Thornhill requested this item be brought to Council for consideration. Recommendation is that Council approve the proposed ordinance as set forth in the above caption. Councilman Thornhill.
Thank you, Mayor. This is one of these requests that I guess maybe it was 2 years ago, Council at a retreat asked staff to go back and help us look at ways to revitalize some of the structures that we have in the city holistically. I think staff then coordinated a committee, and in the last 12 months have worked with this committee to come up with some recommendations. There were several recommendations by this committee, but mainly the common denominator that I could see from the recommendations dealt around the issue of prohibiting enclosed garages. And so I asked that it come before the council tonight for discussion to either move to pass or not. I have talked with staff, and they feel like they're recommending it because it's a tool that they can use to aid in their enforcement capabilities. So that's why I asked for it here tonight.
Okay, sir. I will say also, as Councilman Thornhill mentioned, that we brought this to council probably 3 or 4 years ago, I guess, this same situation, and at that time it did not pass. There was concern about limiting people to enclose their garage and structures, but we looked at it, and my concern at the time, I wasn't mayor at the time, but I was on council, and my concern at the time is our city, our building code for a single-family structure, and correct me if I'm wrong here, please, staff, but our building code for single-family structure does require that when you build it, you must build a one-car garage with the structure. Is that correct?
It's actually the zoning ordinance. When you build a new single-family residence, the zoning ordinance, for whatever classification it is, will require a garage.
And it's an attached, a minimum single-car garage, correct? Or is it
I believe
1.5?
So. I can't recall the precise requirement right now, but it does require a garage. I think it's a minimum with 2 parking spaces.
Okay. And that always boggled my mind is that we have a zoning requirement that requires when you build a house, you must build a garage attached to it. Does it have to be attached? Maybe I'm mistaken there. It doesn't have to be attached, but you must have a garage built with it. And yet then it's the day after you close on the house, you could turn around and we allow them to enclose that garage and make it an additional room. That just didn't make sense to me at all. Either you don't require the garage to be built or you require the garage to remain there. So I'm also in favor of this. I'm glad our committee did go over this extensively. They went over it for many meetings from what I understand. And I think it will help when some of the alleviating some of the situations we have here in our city where we're having people parking in their yards, on the streets, and so on and so forth by preventing additional garage enclosures. Now, I believe this would allow someone to enclose a garage if they had room to build an additional garage. Isn't that correct?
Correct.
So if they had room on their existing plat or on an existing lot to build an additional garage, then they could enclose that as long as they were building an additional garage to make up for the one they closed. Councilman Watts?
Yeah, I voted against it the first time. I'll be voting against it this time for the same reasons. If parking is truly the issue we're going after, then we can go after parking. If I'm building a new house in Louisville, I'm a firm believer in limited government, not the absence of government, so I would happily build my house to code and build a garage. But when my kids have grown and moved out, if I decide I want to put a pool table in there, I don't want to have to ask the city's permission to put a pool table in my house. It's my house, I paid for it. If that's what I want to put in there, that's what I'm going to put in there. And since I wouldn't myself enjoy living under this ordinance, I'm not going to vote to require the rest of the citizens to live with something that I myself would not be too thrilled about. I agree, parking is an issue in some neighborhoods especially, but I think there are other ways to go about it. So, like I said, voted against it the first time, I'll be voting against it this time.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Grena?
Mayor, I agree with you 100%. I find it very illogical to have the house owner, which was the builder at the time, that he is required to build a house with a garage, and then as soon as he sells it to a new buyer, that they can go in there and make changes to it like that in the structure.
In fact, he doesn't even have to sell the house. He can just do it himself the day after he closes on the house and becomes his.
Yeah, but I mean, he still owns it while he's building it, so he's still required to. And that just didn't make, I agree with you 100%, it just does not make sense to me either. I mean, where do we draw the line? Are they going to just start adding second floors, third floors to homes without, getting permits, or replacing the roof, not having a roof, or maybe not even have bathrooms because it's their house? Where do we draw the line? And it has to do with, property values and neighbors and stuff, and keeping a standard in a neighborhood. So I will be in favor of limiting garages that can be enclosed also.
Councilman Durham?
I'm against this ordinance. I was against it before. As far as the comment about the building permits, this isn't about getting a building permit or not getting a building permit. That sort of would just muddy the issue. Someone could build it now without a building permit, or even after this, if this ordinance passes. And the second floor house can be done now as long as it's permitted correctly. Again, we're looking at a parking problem, as Councilman Watts mentioned. The whole problem is parking. And if they've got 4 or 5 cars there, which is not unusual in some of the houses that have one-car garages, whether it be enclosed or not, it's not going to make any difference for those 5 cars. Most of them will be parking on the street. So that problem will not be solved. It also doesn't solve the ones that where the house is already has an enclosed garage. As far as the market value is concerned, in most cases, a enclosed garage, it might decrease the value, only that people would want a garage. It doesn't add value by any means. So in most cases, unless they have an alternate for it. Everybody wants a garage when they start and end up parking on the street quite often after that. So,
Rebecca.
That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Entertain a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion to approve by Councilman Thornhill as presented, a second by Councilman Grena. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Mayor?
I'm sorry. Counselor, please.
This is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Louisville, Texas, amending the Louisville City Code, Chapter 6, Land Development Regulations, by prohibiting the conversion, enclosure, or alteration of a garage for non-parking use in single-family attached or detached dwellings, providing a repealer, providing for severability, providing for a penalty, providing an effective date, and declaring an emergency.
Thank you, Counselor. I apologize. All in favor?
Aye.
Could I have a show of hands, please? All in favor? 2 in favor, all opposed?
Nay.
We have 2 opposed. In that case, we do have a tie. I, as mayor, will cast a vote of aye. Motion passes 3-2.
It will be read 3 times.
More readings.
Yes, which will require 2 more readings. Thank you, Council. And thank you, staff, and thank you, Neighborhood Preservation Committee. I know it was a very drawn-out and litigious matter to try to go through and determine what was the best solution, and I do appreciate everybody's time and work on this. Item 12 is a tabled item, also consideration of an ordinance amending the Louisville City Code, Chapter 11, signs relating to group signs, banner signs, sandwich boards, and definitions. This item was tabled at the April 4, 2011 City Council meeting. The items were presented to City Council on February 4, 2011 at the annual City Council retreat. Direction was given to staff to proceed with the proposed changes regarding group signs, banner signs, and sandwich boards. Use of the group signs has increased significantly, resulting in permit tracking difficulties, enforcement difficulties, and in some cases being deemed unsafe and unsightly. Staff is requesting that group permits be allowed for grand opening events only and defined as such. Revisions are also being requested to reduce the frequency of banner signs within a 12-month period. Such boards currently are not allowed outside the Old Town Design Center District. Staff feels that the use of sandwich boards are a better alternative to advertise and less intrusive. Staff is recommending approval of sandwich boards provided they are located within 10 feet of premises main entrance and meet other provisions outlined in the ordinance. Recommendation, staff is council approve the ordinance as set forth in the caption above. Councilman Watts?
Yeah, I remember the discussion on this at the retreat, and we tabled it last time because we anticipated there might be a tie, so that you would be here this time. This is something I do like the addition of the sandwich boards, allowing people to do that. I understand some of the staff's issues with some of the tracking of the permits and all, but it's hard enough to make a living without people telling you how many times you can advertise your business per year. So as much as I like the addition of the sandwich board sign, since it's all grouped together in one ordinance, I'll be opposed. But I think that's why we tabled it to this time.
Okay. Councilman Grena?
I'm in favor of it. I myself have been driving down Main Street when the blow-up Arab guy has jumped out in front of my car because of the wind, and you don't talk about that. And just in this heavy winds of this season, I saw some more here on Main Street over. There's got to be a limit to signs, and it's just becomes clutter and looking for things. And I agree with Mr. Watts said, it's hard to make a living and stuff, and they get out there. But if every store put a banner up on the closest highway, we would have nothing but walls of signs and banners. And I'm in favor of restricting it also. Thank you.
Councilman Durham?
I'll be against this. I'm against. I'm trying to think how many sign deals I've been for. There hadn't been many.
Oh, there hadn't.
So I'll be against this one for the same reasons that I state every time.
Wait. I know the answer to that. You've been for letting them be any size they want.
Well, I am for that.
Yeah.
And I want the more gaudy and flashy, the better.
I'm okay with electronics.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Thornhill?
I'll be supporting the recommendation of staff and move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Thornhill to approve, a second by Councilman Grena. I also am in favor of this. I know I've been working with staff for this for several years, is when we amended this sign ordinance several years ago, and it has been, I'd say I'm using a kind word here, and I'm probably understating, but it has been a nightmare, I would say, for code enforcement to regulate the ordinance the way it's been, as far as the signs and banners, the way they're being, to keep them up and keep track of who is putting what up and how long they're keeping it up and so on and so forth. There's a lot of things that our code enforcement officers, I think, could be doing that would be more beneficial to the citizens throughout the community. We are trying to do some cleanup here for our neighborhoods and for our cities. We've been working on that for several years now, and I think while I understand people have signs for businesses and so on and so forth, but I also know a good example is of our car dealerships. They used to all have banners and stuff, and you don't see that anymore. It's because they don't do it in any other cities either, and they found out they can save money on the banners, and they're still selling the same amount of cars. And so they've quit using them here in our city, and they're not allowed to use them in the other cities. So I think it's a good thing. I think the people will realize that it's more aesthetically pleasing, and I'm in favor of that also. So with that, Councilor?
This is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Louisville, Texas, amending Chapter 11 signs of the Louisville City Code by amending the regulations related to balloons, balloon signs, inflatable signs, pennants, streamers, and banner signs, adding a subsection regarding sandwich board signs, providing for a repealer, providing for severability, providing a penalty, providing an effective date, and declaring an emergency.
All in favor?
Aye.
If you raise your hands again for get recorded. All opposed?
Nay.
We have a tie in that case. I vote aye. Motion carries 3-2, and we will once again read this with 2 more readings. Item 13 is consideration of ordinance amending the Louisville City Code, Chapter 7, Article 7, relating to the Food Service Establishments Ordinance. Staff has identified the need to amend the current requirements related to the Food Service Establishments Ordinance in order to remain in compliance with the Texas Food Establishment rules and to address deficiencies in the code. The revisions provide clarification to definitions, inspections, temporary food events, and roadside food vendors, as well as introduce various new sections of the ordinance. The recommendation is that Council approve the proposed ordinance as set forth in the caption above. Councilman Grena?
I'm in favor of this, but I was wondering if anybody else would like to have a quick summary from Mrs. Harper, or did you have anything prepared, Mrs. Harper?
You're to address any questions that you have.
I don't have. You answered all my questions in the workshop meeting, and I appreciate that. Move to approve if no one has any questions.
Second.
I have a motion to approve by Councilman Grena, a second by Councilman Watts.
And I do have some questions.
Yes, sir.
Particularly on nonprofits, charities, churches that would provide sandwiches to residents, not church members. It'd be Meals on Wheels type deal.
Yes, sir.
It'd be the preparing of what I'm talking about is preparing peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Yes, sir.
How would they fit underneath this?
They'd be required to meet the same state regulations, which would require them to have an approved facility, which means that it has to be inspected by a regulatory authority and it meet all those requirements.
Okay.
And we would work with them to accomplish that.
Yeah. What about the fees that they would have to pay?
Yes, sir. The ordinance doesn't allow any difference whether it's a charity organization or a regular food service.
Okay. And would all the food preparers have to go to classes?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
What we've determined that we have acknowledged that there are some 15 and under that will just be assisting with the bags but not assembling or handling the food, and we will not require them. The ones that will be directly in contact with the foods are the ones that will require to go through the
You're
class.
talking about preparation?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So once it's packaged some way or another, there wouldn't be any issues with that as long as it was stored at the correct temperature?
Yes, sir, as long as they met all the other state codes.
Okay. I hate to even say that I'm going to be against this just because of that one little section. So,
just curious, is that new and added this time around? You're saying they were never required to before?
Well, what's happened, anyone that prepares food for the public, not their family, has always been required to meet the state codes.
Okay.
What we are seeing here is basically a new program, at least new to at least the city of Louisville. I don't know for Texas, but we're seeing where there are more agencies out there who are serving the children for lunch programs. That has no implication. They still are required to meet all of the food service requirements. That's always been in place. If you're handling the food and preparing food for anyone other than your family or a church family, they are required to meet state standards.
And this ordinance does not have anything related to that. The ordinance we've been operating under for years has that same requirement in it.
I don't doubt that, but it was being done, and there wasn't an issue with it. As far as serving, in one case it was an apartment complex. They'd only do it during the summer when school was out. And I know it's been being done for 15 years.
It's an issue when it comes to our attention.
Right, but it's been done for 15 years that I know of.
And that may be true, but it's now just become to our attention.
Sure. And I don't know if they've even had a complaint about it, but I knew that it was coming to this at some point, and that's why I called the city manager on the other day about this. So, and it's not the first time. I know Fort Worth had this issue of churches handing out sandwiches to the homeless a few years ago. Same type of situation. So, and I do appreciate the deal, and you don't want to have unsafe food out on the street.
Yes, sir.
And I'm sure there have been cases of that happening.
Yes, sir.
So, and hopefully the churches and other charities can get together some way or another and find a way to still provide their service to the community somehow, some way. I don't know how they'll do it, but
that's our job, is to try to work with them to accomplish that.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
And I guess my question is now, I'm understanding that we're amending our ordinance to make sure that we are in compliance, that we remain in compliance with the Texas food establishment rules and ordinance, correct?
That's correct.
So we're not adding this as something that we want to add, it's something just to remain in compliance
This is to be in compliance with state.
Texas.
That is correct.
Okay.
That was going to be my question.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No, I agree with Councilman Durning. Brings up a very good point. And I know the staff will work with charities and churches, if necessary, to make sure that we're in compliance. That's really what I see this is about, is just making sure our ordinance is in compliance with the state law.
Yes, sir.
And it would be nice if the state legislature would take this situation into account next time they're talking about things like this. But until then, we'll comply with state law.
Okay.
Councilor? Just have a read.
Is there a motion?
We did have.
Sorry. This is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Louisville, Texas, amending Chapter 7, Licenses and Business Regulations of the Louisville City Code by deleting the current language in Article 7, Food Service Establishments, in its entirety, and replacing it with new language, providing for a repealer, providing for severability, providing a penalty, providing an effective date, and declaring an emergency.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Passes 3-1.
I'm glad it passed. I know we know how to have that.
I understand.
Just a comment to be made.
Item 14 is third and final reading, consideration of an ordinance amending the Louisville City Code, Chapter 7, Article 14, seasonal temporary sales activities, by deleting Article 14 and adding new text to the City Code. At the March 21st, 2011 City Council meeting, the Council approved the subject ordinance. However, due to the lack of a 4/5 vote by the Council to adopt the ordinance on an emergency basis, the ordinance has to be read on 3 separate days to meet the city charter requirements. This will be the third and final reading. Item 15. Oh, you have to read that. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You didn't read it yet.
This is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Louisville, Texas, amending Chapter 7, Licenses and Business Regulations of the City of Louisville Code by deleting the current language in Article 14, Seasonal Temporary Sales Activities, in its entirety, and replacing it with new language, providing for a repealer, providing for severability, providing a penalty, and providing an effective date.
Thank you, Councilor. Item 15, consideration of declaring a vacancy in place number 3 of the Louisville Local Government Corporation, and consideration of an appointment to fill the vacancy of the Louisville Government Corporation. Greg Tierney has submitted a letter of resignation from the Louisville Local Government Corporation. The articles of incorporation for this board state that the board of directors, consisting of 5 persons who are residents of the city, shall be appointed by the city council, and that the board members may be members of the city council. When the corporation was first formed, the city council wanted to have 5 members serve on this corporation, and staff recommends continuing this practice. Our recommendation is the City Council declare a vacancy in place number 3 of the Louisville Local Government Corporation and consider a new appointment to place number 3 of the Louisville Government Corporation. My recommendation would be to appoint Councilman Grena to the vacancy. So, Councilman Thornhill?
You want me to do this in two parts? First, declare a vacancy? and
That'd be
then-
great.
Okay. I'll go ahead and make a motion that we declare a vacancy in place 3.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Thornhill to declare the vacancy in place 3, and a second by Councilman Watts. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And I'll go ahead and make an appointment to fill the vacancy with Councilman Green.
And we have a motion to fill the vacancy with appointment of Councilman Guarino.
Second.
And a second by Councilman Durham. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, reports. Nika.
Oh, well, excuse me, Mayor, I'm sorry. Just for the record, since that concerned me, I abstained. Thank you.
Bob? Nothing? Chief?
Yes, sir, Your Honor. I just wanted to make you aware there was a loss of a firefighter's life in Eastland, Texas, over the past couple days due to the wildland fires. Our Honor Guard Commander Jim Byers is out there coordinating the funeral as we speak. I just wanted to make you aware that we are still deployed. We've been out there for several weeks. We're trying to keep you updated through the city manager's office with our brush truck, through the TIFMAS organization, that group, and with an engine out there helping to protect the homes out in the western portion of Texas. So we're doing our best to contribute there. And lastly, the Louisville Fighting Farmers girls softball team took first. Keep Louisville Beautiful for a large youth team, so we're proud of them too. We're doing a great job.
That's great. Congratulations. Melinda? Chief Taylor, how are you tonight, sir? Good to have you here with us.
I'm good. Thanks for having me, sir. Just want to invite you all Thursday night, the first 501 Highland Drive, 5 to 7 p.m. We have another...
Could you maybe either move your microphone forward or speaking to it?
Am I better now?
No, push the button.
Am I better now?
There you go.
All right, Thursday the 21st, 501 Highland Drive. We have another block party with a Crime Watch group, 501 Highland Drive, Thursday, 5 to 7, and that's down at MacArthur, Rockbrook area.
Thank you, Chief. Carol, how's it going?
Well, we're still about a foot and a half down below conservation, but which this time last year we were a half a foot above conservation, and we had an inch of rain on this day last year, so we're behind in a couple of areas.
Thank you. The roads are continuing to improve, and we appreciate all your staff's work on that. Thank you, Carol. Hannah?
Mayor and Council, I wanted to let you know that this Friday we will be kicking off our Texas Tunes concert series. It's a series of 4 concerts that focus on different types of Texas music. It will be at our new MCL Grand Theater. The performance will start at 7:30 p.m. in the Performance Hall. Louisville residents, it only costs $5, and you can buy those tickets right here at City Hall or over at the box office. It's $15 for non-residents, and those $15 tickets are available online.
That's great. I just keep getting so many emails and phone calls, and when I'm out in public, seeing people just rant and rave about our new Grand Theater. It's just wonderful. MCO Grand Theater. It's great.
Hopefully they're raving more than they're ranting.
So far.
They were doing it all in a good way.
Yeah.
It was all good. Brenda? Believe me, when my wife rants, it's a good thing. Mr. Ferris? Mr. Backett? Councilman Durham?
Question, Chief Lasky, on the equipment, the fire that we have personnel out there. How are they rotating people? Are y'all rotating people in and out? How's that working on the staff from Louisville?
Yes, sir. We're rotating crews. We've had a couple people that were out there for about a week. That's a normal deployment time, working, and then about the time they feel, their leader feels they need to be relieved, we send another crew out there. It's all reimbursable through the state, so the city isn't out any money. The vehicle that we're using is the one that was funded through the grant program. We are not leaving anybody short. The entire county has this system worked out wonderfully now with the task force, where we can send people out of the county to work anywhere, and we're not depleting any of the services from around this area. But yes, we are relieving those people when they need it, Councilman.
Okay, thank you. And I want everybody to keep their thoughts and prayers with the residents of those affected areas, and all the people, the hundreds, if not thousands of people that are helping out there. So.
And these winds make it bad.
Oh, yeah.
Councilman Green?
Friday night, I had the privilege of representing the city at the Panda Cup reception dinner, and it's just an awesome organization. The soccer team of amputees was just amazing because they're from different countries, and frankly, we don't have a USA amputee soccer team, which they're trying to put together. Amazing, these athletes. They're out there with their crutches, and one of the guys from Haiti didn't speak any English, and he was there, getting translated. They were translating to him everything. He was an artist, and he came up with a new logo. It's not just amputees; it's all these teams, but they have Special Olympics and soccer teams for amputees. I was just impressed with these true athletes that. Even though the cards weren't in for them to have all their limbs, that they were out there doing what they do, and nothing's holding them back. So, if you can visit them or see them here next year, go see the games, because that was a full weekend of soccer at our Toyota of Louisville Railroad Park. I got that name right. And it was just awesome to meet those people. It was truly inspiring. Oh, one more thing, too. They also donated to the city a little banner, which I had asked to give to our city secretary to put in the glass case out here. They make only a few of them, and they honored us by presenting one of those to us, too. Thank you.
Councilman Watts?
Just echo the comments already made. That is a great event. Glad that it's here in Louisville, and hope everybody will keep the folks affected by the weather and the fires in your prayers. And we have elections coming up soon. Everybody get to know your candidates and vote accordingly.
Mr. King? No, sir. Councilman Thornhill?
I'll ditto what Councilman Durham said about the firefighters and the fires going on out there. Thank you.
Councilor? Healy? Also say we need to keep all those affected by fires and other tragedies. We don't always know what's going on with the person that lives next door to us. Just keep everyone in your thoughts and prayers. And also want to say thank you to the council for the past years and staff of the council here too. Our two newest projects, the Toyota Louisville Railroad Park and our new MCL Grand Theater, which are just both tremendous, and we just continue to get accolades from other cities. And when I go to functions, how mayors of other cities and council members just want to know, how did we do that? How did we get that passed? How did we accumulate that during this downtime? And I said, well, we've got a good staff and a good council and a lot of good citizens, about 100,000 of them, that are proud of this community. And I want to thank all of you for that. So with that, in accordance to Texas Government Code, Subchapter D, Section 551.072, property acquisition, and Section 551.087, deliberation regarding economic development negotiations, will now convene into executive session.
We got it.
We convene back into regular session. Is there any action to be taken, council?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion to adjourn by Councilman Watts, a second by Councilman Durham. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.